we're feeding through to the folks out there. While we're waiting for like confirmation, see if anything's going on here. Let me remind everyone out there: go to hankstrange.com, sign up for our email list. Look around the site; we've got lots of cool things. If you want to know what social media we're on, it's on the website. If you want to know what places you could get stuff from and still support us, on the website, Lola's always throwing up deals. You can find it there. Also, you will find the patches. The Hank Strange patches are up there. You can get these. And while supplies last, if you get any of these Hank Strange patches, Lola's sending out some Gunvote stickers. So, you know what? I think people like the stickers. What I might do is have some other stickers that will sell with the patches, and we'll do more of that stuff. All right. So let me. It looks like everything is good here. Let's roll the show. Let's just do that.
Welcome back to the Hank
All right.
Strange Situation.
Make sure you guys subscribe, smash those thumbs ups, ring the bell so that you could be notified when we go live. All right, guess what, guys? We have Mike from MW Tactical. We got Joe from 13C Gun Reviews. We've got myself. We are the pre-show for the debate. I'm not even really planning on looking at the debate. I'll be honest with you guys. I could care less. Maybe the highlights. You know, if it's a bloodbath one way or the other, then maybe the highlights. We'll look at it. But we are the pre-show. We are the pre-debate show that's going on right now. Big shout out to Walther Arms for sponsoring the podcast here. Shout out to everyone out there. Please smash those thumbs ups as you guys are coming in. This is episode 649. Let's get those jazz hands going, guys. Come on with the jazz hands. There you go. Mike's doing jazz pinkies. All right, let's show this. Mike's doing jazz pinkies. Joe, what are you doing? What's your... I don't know what Joe's doing.
That's all I got. I got jazz hands. That's it.
Oh, okay. All right, fine. Okay, fine. Like I said, I hope you guys have your big girl panties on. This is episode 649 of the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. Tonight's show, we have Joe from 13C Gun Reviews and Mike from M-W Tactical. I got that right, Mike?
That's it. You got it right this time.
That's because Lola reminded me. Otherwise, good luck with getting me to remember anything. Shout out to everyone out there. How are you guys? How you guys doing?
I'm doing real good. Good.
Yeah,
I'm doing good.
It's a Tuesday. Yes. Gunrunner 219 right off the back says, "Are we going to talk politics or guns?" We could talk whatever you guys want to talk about. That's what I'm here for. We could talk about guns. We could talk about cars. You know, we could tell you guys about the birds and the bees if you need some advice, positions, whatever, whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, some guy named Gun Loving Grandpa says, "Hey brother," at M-W Tactical.
Hey, what's going on, Gun Loving Grandpa? How's it going for you?
Yeah. So shout out to everyone there. If anyone needs shout outs, let me know. We could definitely do shout outs. And like I said, don't forget to smash those thumbs ups. Let's see. Let's start with Mike. Since we already got you here, Mike. What's been going on, man? Since the last time I've seen you.
Yeah, not too much. Just going around doing the shooting competitions as we talked about. Came down to Florida and did the Area 6 match. Mm-hmm. Came back to South Carolina, relaxed for a little bit, then went up to North Carolina, shot their state match. And then this past weekend, went to Georgia and shot their state match. Mm-hmm. And now next month, in October, the end of the month, I'll be down there shooting the national race gun match down there.
Oh, okay. All right. Very cool. Let's see here. Joe, what's going on with you?
I am answering and messaging some folks in the chat
all at
here.
The same time. Multitasking.
Multitasking. We're I'm staying busy here locally. I have a big announcement in about 2 weeks for you guys, so hit that subscribe button and the bell. Come back here because in about 2 weeks I'll get back on the show and I'll have a pretty important announcement coming up. So that'd be cool. Otherwise,
sounding mysterious.
A little bit. Yeah, we got to play part of it closer to the vest. Those who know already know, but
absolutely.
Had fun, man. I've been doing trying to stay busy with some different stuff. One of the things I'm going to talk about in 2 weeks will explain some of the busyness as well, trying to get some stuff done. But I had some fun. I actually went to Montana for the first time ever last week.
Cool.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was cool. It was pretty cool. I've never been to Montana before. I've been, out west before, but Montana I haven't. And I was out in, stayed at a really cool old timey hotel, the Sacagawea Hotel in lovely
Okay.
Three Forks, Montana. So that
Uh-huh.
was pretty cool.
Okay. You went out there with the family?
No, it was just me. I went out there, get a media trip, a gun type trip, and we went out
Okay.
and we checked out the Black Hawk facility out there.
Okay.
Did some force on force stuff
Oh,
with
cool.
using some of their holsters and simunitions and stuff. Federal's making some simunitions now,
Oh, nice.
so it's pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a fun trip. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that sounds actually pretty cool. I have my MP5. I've got a simunitions kit for that. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, I got to figure out where to get the simunitions from. I guess I'm gonna have to
Yes,
find out who owns Federal. Well, Federal isn't Federal under Vista Group. I guess Vista
they are.
Group is
Yeah.
Federal. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Vista, that's something we can talk about tonight. I don't know if you talked about that last night. I know you
We
may have
did.
dropped a video on it yesterday, but
Hmm.
I didn't catch the podcast last night.
Yeah, we could talk about that. Anything else you guys want to talk about? I know everyone's trying to figure out who owns what. Mike, I don't know if you're on top of the whole Remington breakup situation.
The only thing I know about Remington is PSA bought some part of it,
Hmm.
one of the departments. That's the only thing I know, and I only heard that when I was getting out of the vehicle, getting ready to shoot the match.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but I didn't dive into it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It seems it got broken up. I think what was it like 6 or 7 companies getting different pieces of the pie.
7 of them.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Let's see. Kathleen Music Lover says yes, birds and bees. Okay, just let us know, Kathleen Music Lover. Where do you want us to start in the birds and bees conversation? Lola says no, we're not talking about the birds and the bees. We'll ignore Lola. The people have spoken, Lola. They want to know about the birds and the bees. And born to be a shooter, Josh says, have you tried the Digi trigger yet? Who has the Digi trigger?
I haven't touched one.
Yeah,
Is that out yet?
yeah.
I
I
don't know
don't.
if that's actually out yet.
Yeah.
I know I've seen it at SHOT a couple times, but I didn't know if it was actually out. I thought they were still working on it. I could be wrong. I haven't
Yeah.
kept up on it because, it's one of those things where they announce it, way
Mhm.
too soon, and
Mhm.
then, it just drags on, and then, just drops off your radar.
Yeah, yeah. I've never got my hands on that. I've only, like Joe just said, I've just only seen things posted here or there about it. Lewis555 says he needs one, so shout out to Lewis555 out there. Steve Dave says always take a shout out, so shout out to Steve Dave. Gunrunner219 says position, Weaver or Doggy?
Whatever it takes.
Good answer. I'm gonna go with Joe. With Joe's answer. What do you say, Mike?
I'm hearing static.
Oh,
My
oh,
microphone is my microphone working? Hello, hello.
oh boy. Yeah. Let's see. James Miller says poor Lola trying to keep Hank in line. Jay Loafer says I'll be watching the debate on Blaze. They'll be watching it Mystery Science Theater 3000 style. And LWC with drinking game. Okay. Yeah. And Jeff Stevens says, "Hi, gentlemen. How bad do you think things will get after Trump wins?" Um, I, I don't
That's
know.
a good
I don't.
question. That's $1 million question.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that regardless of who wins the elections, I think America will be America, and we'll soldier on. We'll do what we got to do. I don't care who's the president. I believe in the Constitution, right? So,
Hmm.
I mean, we need to stick to that. We need to fight for that, even when it doesn't necessarily make us happy. So, like how we have the whole thing going down with the Supreme Court, and people want to change stuff. No, that's not how it goes. You know, that's not how it's set out. That's not what we need to do, right? We need to stick with things the way that they are when it comes to the Constitution. So,
Hmm.
and that's not always going to work for us, right? Things could flip. Could be someone else in there putting people on the Supreme Court, and we just have to deal with it. So I feel the same way about the elections. If there's people who are really mad after the elections and they don't like America, no one's forcing you to stay here.
That's true.
So that's my take. Mike, I don't know if you've got any take on that.
Oh, I think what's going to end up taking place is after the election, the power's in the vote and the power's in the people. So you can always contact your congressmen and senators and, have them push back if your area as a whole is in agreement with that same way of thinking. So the way the system is designed is you can get active in it, but no sense to complain about something if you have not been participating in it for years building up to now.
Yeah.
So
That's true. It's so important to get out there and vote, especially not just in the national elections, but I don't think people really truly understand how important it is to get involved in your local elections. In your local elections, the vote can be determined sometimes by as few as 5-10 people. There were some local elections in the last primary here, and some of them were decided by 5 votes. I mean, 5 votes was the difference between, one candidate, in the primary versus another. And in 1 or 2 of those instances, there's a decent difference between the 2 of them. And then, and then you get to the general election for people who don't vote in the primary. You get to the general election, say there's never anybody good to vote for. Tired of picking the lesser of 2 evils. It's probably more important to vote in the primary than the general election. Because it's the primary where you can actually have at least a little bit of a choice. In some of these busy primary, contested seats, you can have 3, 4, 5 people vying, and it can literally come down to 2 or 3, or in one case, one specific one, 5 votes in an area that has 110,000 people. So yeah, your vote freaking matters at the local level tremendously, and that's that. If there's one takeaway I can give to anybody is when the primary comes around, man, educate yourself, get down there, and please vote for who you can. And you don't even have to feel bad about it. Even if you don't think the person you're going to vote for in the primary is going to win, you can cast your vote for them anyway, because why not, right? You've still got the general election to go forward to. So I really wish I really wish there was something better.
I think for all the stuff that we all say about the conversations we all have about politics, voting, one side or the other, one of the problems in America is most of the people who are qualified to vote don't actually vote.
Right.
Yeah. So, and that's like, unfortunately we kind of have like blue versus red or left and right, and that's on both sides of that.
Right.
So what people need to do is, regardless of what you believe, what you're into, or whatever, get out there and vote. And then, realize this is the system, this is how it works. There'll be another vote coming around sometime after that. And then another one. So,
right.
For sure, like we all have our things, or people think directions we hope things go. And I don't want to see America go in a more socialist, down a more socialist path, right? I don't know if anyone wants that, and definitely, we've the Second Amendment's been eroded for a long time, so not a fan of that either. So
I think what the problem is a lot of people, when they voice their opinion, they voice their opinion off of what sounds good on paper versus doing the research, looking at history, and understanding we're about to repeat ourselves all over again. So, but right now, nobody's taking accountability for their actions. So that's where society is going. So we're already going for a plane crash.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy things happening out there. Some of which we'll get into. I know the folks. It seems like the folks wanted to talk about guns. What gun stuff have you guys been up to lately that you could talk about? I know there might be some things that you can't necessarily talk about.
Well, I've only been active with shooting competitions. So, but like I already told you beforehand, I did Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, going back to Florida, and then next year I'm the assistant match director for the South Carolina state match that will be taking place in April of 2021.
Okay, congratulations on that. Any rationing of ammo competition-wise out there, or you guys just burning as much as you usually do?
No, I cut back on a lot of matches that I do, just trying to conserve ammo so I can do certain matches that I feel that's important for me to get my ranking so I can move up. But at the same time, I reload my own ammo for competition shooting. So I heard a few people at the last match I went to they made a comment like somebody stated they bought all their competition ammo, and now that they got caught behind the train, they don't know what to do now because they don't reload anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's kind of true that a lot of folks out there stopped reloading because we kind of had an ammo boom where everyone was making ammo.
Yeah, and it was a whole lot cheaper to buy
Yeah.
it versus doing it yourself.
Yeah. Are
Oh,
you
yeah.
just shooting one caliber, Mike?
40.
40. Oh, okay. And 40 is difficult to find right now, or
Like I said, honestly, I don't know because I
you don't know?
reload my
Okay.
own ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. James Miller wants to know what reloader you use.
I got a Dillon the 750.
Dylan 750. There you go. Boom.
You're serious about it.
Yeah.
Well, I would have got the 650, but when I actually called to order it, they stated to me that they didn't make the 650 no more, and they was going with the 750.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, cool. But I really wanted to get that 1050. But when you got like that little hookup going on, you gotta get whatever they give.
Okay.
So
Understood. I don't know what the differences are. I'm assuming the 1050 is, I don't know. Does it just like go buy the ammo for you, put everything together, you just push a button?
and I heard that same story, but but it's a few different components with it.
Okay.
Like I want to say the 1050 actually swags out the primer area of the
Okay.
casing, and then at the same time it's easier to change between calibers. Like you do a rifle
Mm-hmm.
and then going to pistol, it's easier to make that conversion change between the two.
Okay. All right. Joe, you do any competition shooting?
Not really anymore. No,
Okay.
I just kind of I got busy, back before this whole thing. Well, before my two youngest daughters were born, I used to do some stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and and I enjoyed it. And that was, it's going back, God, almost 16 years ago.
Wow.
And I
Olden
really
days.
haven't, right? I really haven't done too much since then. You know, you have kids, you work, you're just working a ton with jobs and stuff. And my wife stayed home to raise the girls, so I was working a little more than I would have. And you just don't. It takes a lot more time and dedication. One of the big things was moving up to this area where I'm at now. It was an hour and a half easy before I moved to where I am right now. It was a solid hour and a half basically to any decent range,
Mm.
which was just so 3 hours of drive time,
Mm-hmm.
to go shooting every time, and it wasn't feasible for me to keep that up.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've moved here, I have a range in my backyard, so. But I'm also to the point where wherever any of those stuff, that stuff happens, I'm still, an hour away. So I don't know. I just haven't. I kind of miss it a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
on the reloading side, I do reload. And for a while there, I wasn't reloading. I still had my press. I
Mm-hmm.
still had components. So I didn't reload for probably 4 years, the
Okay.
past 4 years. But I've started reloading this past, basically since the coof hit. Number one, because I had some extra time, and number two, because now these past couple months, ammo is just insanely hard to find and priced when you do find it. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been reloading, and I'm going off stockpiles that I've had for 6-7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a decent amount. I pretty much just reload 9 and 45, primarily 9mm now at this point. I actually got it originally to reload 45 because 45 was expensive, and I just got 9mm. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, I pretty much exclusively shoot 9mm. I hardly shoot any 45 anymore. So
Okay. Lots of, by the way, lots of Dylan information's been going up. People saying like that the 1050 is the commercial grade one. There's no lifetime warranty on that. Dylan Parson just said the 1050 is being replaced with the 1100. Lots of reloading guys out there. I know I've heard from people that while they listen to us get on with our shenanigans, they reload. So, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I'm practically still new to reloading,
Mm-hmm.
but I do know, like I said, the 650 is replaced by the 750,
Mm-hmm.
and when I just heard about the 1100 being replaced, I just took that as more as an upgrade. So I really don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
um, They might add some new parts to it, but I haven't even researched that 1100 yet.
Okay, all right. So I know we were mentioning earlier before we get into anything else, we were talking about this whole Remington thing. Mike, you said you haven't really heard that much. Joe, what have you heard? What are your thoughts on this?
So it looks like, they're being split up between several different groups. One of the more exciting ones is that Palmetto State Armory has picked up AAC.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad to see that. AAC is one of my favorite silencer companies.
Mm-hmm.
It's not they've necessarily come out with anything really new or groundbreaking these past few years, but a lot of their offerings that have been out there for a while they're just insanely solid silencers.
Mm-hmm.
They meter really well. They're tough. I've been partial to them. So that was a really good pickup. I was a little surprised that Federal, or I guess Vista, has picked up, allegedly, there's a backup with SIG for picking up the Remington ammunition brand, ATK, whatever. So Remington ammo, basically. And I'm both happy and concerned over that because Vista, the Federal Spear CCI side, they make really good ammo.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of it, Remington ammo there's been hiccups in their productions over the years. We've all seen the same thing, where there's been various issues from the Remington ammo.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, though, if somebody can get them in line, I feel like Vista's got a solid job of turning the Remington ammo brand around and actually, producing consistent, ammo from them. So that's good.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know how much all of this affects us respectively, right? Because Mike, you're doing competition shooting, Joe and myself, we're doing reviews and different things. But I think in general, yes, it's good that this is not one big massive thing anymore. Maybe even a good thing that there's some folks that are focused on these particular parts here and they can innovate, maybe up quality and all that kind of stuff. Mike, how much do you pay attention to who owns what in the industry, from your point of view?
You meaning parts or companies?
No, I mean, yeah. How much do you pay attention to the companies? Does it really matter that much?
It all depends on the company and
Mm-hmm.
where my interests align with that company.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, like if I hear something, I don't do the gossip train. So,
Mm-hmm.
But for instance, like Walther, I do follow Walther because I'm a big fan of Walther and their products.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything happens with Walther, I'll be quick to find out more of what's going on versus something that's going on with Ruger, let's say.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless it's their rifle versus their handgun.
Right. I'll let you know when I'm buying Walther Arms. I'll let you know. Don't worry.
Hey, what seat do I get at the round table?
That's not going to be happening anytime, not even remotely anytime soon. I think it was even interesting, like what companies, I don't know how many companies even wanted to participate in it, but I was surprised there weren't some other companies jumping into this.
Was it a big hush thing or was it something that was public? Like I said, I'm lost.
It's a bankruptcy. I think it's kind of public, but you have to dig for things. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. So I think there was yes. So first of all, the people in the various companies that would have been bidding, they pretty much all knew about this.
Mm-hmm.
The question was, depending on what brand, so there's been, obviously we've seen some quality control issues with Bushmaster over the years when it moved out of Wyndham.
Mm-hmm.
We saw some issues with DPMS as they transitioned under the Remington and under the Freedom Group as well.
Yeah, that was that. I remember that happening. I was like, man, DPMS was like really starting to kick some butts, and then they kind of got lost somewhere in the shuffle.
They did. I always kind of, from the outside looking in with just a hint of inside industry information, I always looked at it as you had the Freedom Group, which was concerned about making money, which there's nothing wrong with making money.
Right.
But you got to look long term, right? If you're sacrificing quality, you're especially in the firearms industry where everything it's an insanely close, tight knit group. And in today's day and age of, the internet, you can't you can't do what some of these groups used to do back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of companies shied away from that because they didn't want to take on some of the stigma of some of those brands.
Mm-hmm.
They thought there was going to be too much work, for example, things like that. So the good, when I look at some of these things, right? So a lot of these buys, a lot of these pickups aren't necessarily bad. I think overall, all these brands pretty much are going to do better now with who they're with. So you're talking about Ruger earlier. Ruger picked up Marlin,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good fit for them, right? I am
Mm-hmm.
so glad Ruger didn't do something like picking up, trying to pick up AAC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or even Bushmaster or
Yeah,
whatever.
because they're already
Ruger
doing
is,
that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
Ruger's already doing that. They've already had a name for it,
Yeah.
and they're not going to, you look at Palmetto State Armory. They're not going to compromise
Mm-hmm.
the AAC logo. Probably, I don't think they will,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to go with kind of what AAC wanted, right? So
Mm-hmm.
AAC, before it got absorbed and bought up by the Freedom Group, they were really, a hardcore freedom-loving group. Now, I don't know necessarily. I can't recall how many of those people are still there. Obviously, a lot of people left
Mm-hmm.
AAC, moved on. Some, a lot of the big brain behind that, those folks moved on to different companies. That's probably something, getting too far off on the weeds on.
Mm-hmm.
But at least, you look at Ruger I think will do a good job with Marlin. I'm just I just pulled up the list here. You look at, the Palmetto State guys, they picked up DPMS, H&R, Storm Lake, AAC, and then Parker Brands.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of these guys haven't, got discontinued. I don't remember how long one or two of these are. So it'll be interesting to see how they reinvigorate those.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to DPMS, the folks that it was interesting inside the DPMS group that was inside the Freedom Group. So Freedom Group really screwed up on some of the DPMS stuff. But when you look over at some of the other stuff that Freedom Group actually got to control and work with, like their G, the G2 line. So you know some of the issues that the regular DPMS 308 ARs had. The G2 line fixed a lot of those, beefed them up, and they're pretty good rifles. In fact, in all my 30 cal silencer testing, I used a DPMS G2 Recon as my suppressor host, as a constant throughout that. I'll use other firearms as well, but as a constant, I use that one gun, and I try and keep one gun that just goes through the thing. And it's still going strong 6-7 years later. It's a tank. It's a great gun. They actually rather than hollow out the bolt, they beefed up the bolt. They did things right with that. So hopefully, and I believe at least in the case of JJ&E Holdings, which is what Palmetto State Armory is, we'll be able to see the good things that were done with DPMS and focus on those and bring the rest of the company up, as opposed to a group like Freedom, which tried to bring everything down.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a lot of encouraging stuff here. I'm pretty happy. Sierra Bullets picked up Barnes bullets, which is cool. So Barnes made decent bullets to begin with. I think Sierra will only, they can only go up from there. Sierra Match King bullets are some of my favorite for shooting groups and hunting. So
this could be a good time for ammunition companies out there, man. I was just looking at what was I looking at? Oh, you know what? When Pete Brownell came on the show, we were asking him when he thinks ammunition, and I need to put that snippet up. But we were asking him about ammunition and when he thinks that it'll be easy to get this ammunition again, and he was saying something like third quarter of 2021.
So like August.
So, yeah. So some inside industry information, sort of. So first of all, demand is not going to drop until after inauguration at the earliest. I don't think we're going to see a single drop, regardless of who wins the election. It won't be until January. What's that? 23rd, 24th, where we may see ammunition demand drop, right? Because if Trump loses, everybody on the right is just going to keep buying more, right? They're going to buy their 15th case 223. If he wins, the left will be continuing their, we want a civil war mantra and, who knows what. So everybody's going to be looking toward Inauguration Day as people going nuts and cities burning and whatnot. So I don't see demand even starting to drop basically until February 1st.
Okay.
Now you also look at that where if no new, and from some of my industry information that I have, if no new orders were placed for ammo right now, nobody else ordered any more ammo right now, it's going to take at least one full quarter to catch up for the orders that are
Already
on
exists.
order right
Yeah.
now, right? So
Yeah.
we are a full quarter behind, and almost every single one of these ammo manufacturers that I talk to, they're running 3 shifts. They're running either 3 8-hour shifts or 2 12-hour shifts, 24 hours a day, 365 days a week. They are literally making ammo as fast as they can make it. In some cases they may be adding, a little capacity here or there, but like anything else, right? You can only add so much capacity on before you risk, because there's not it's important to understand that most of these manufacturers are not increasing their costs to the wholesalers or the distributors. They're selling at basically the same price per round as they have been. In a couple cases, here and there, you're up maybe a penny, maybe 2 cents a round, because component costs have increased, so they're increased the prices there. But all the costs that you're seeing at the retail end and the distributor end are total increases from retail and wholesale and distributors. It's not coming from the manufacturers. So now, granted, if you get a couple cases of 223 in and you need to sell it, you may not get any for another several weeks, right? So you have to be able to pay the bills. At the same time, there's no reason why, other than the demand issue. It's not the supply and demand issue. There's no logical reason why ammo shouldn't be basically the exact same price it was 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Other than the fact, obviously, everybody's buying it and you can't keep it on the shelves. Yes, supply and demand exists.
Yeah.
Of course. But
Go ahead.
Yeah. So Joe, you talk to the companies. What's the reason for the lag? How we got to where we are now with the ammo?
So there's a lot of thoughts on exactly how we got to where we are now. The companies were manufacturing, they were producing, and just as soon as March of last year, we had 9mm for 9mm CCI for $199 delivered. We had 5.56 federal 5.56 as cheap as like $260 delivered for 1,000 rounds. What happened was when the COVID lockdowns hit, there's component issues, first of all, that are being dealt with for the most part, that ammo manufacturers are keeping up with to continue production up. But we wound up seeing over the next couple of months, there's at least 7 million new gun buyers. So think about it this way. Even if, a third of those, 2 million, let's say, roughly, let's say 2 million new gun owners went out and bought, and because we know they've sold about 2 million new ARs, roughly. I mean, from what we can tell from standards, there's 2 million new ARs this year. We'll just talk about just ARs. So you had 2 million people who went out and they buy one 1,000 round case of ammo. That's 2 million cases of ammo. That's a ton. And that's not counting every other shooter in the country who still buys ammo, still shoots ammo, or is trying to stockpile for Armageddon. So you've got, a total of basically 7 million new gun owners trying to buy ammo. If 2 million of them, we know for sure 2 million of them, probably sure, 2 million of them are new AR owners. At just one case apiece, that's 2 million cases. That's you just can't keep up with that.
Yeah.
So that's where a ton of this is coming from. And then you look at how many people are, the other 5 million new buyers, most of which bought handguns. That explains why there's hardly any 9mm, the most common selling caliber handgun. And whether it's a small compact gun, people carry for self-defense, whatever, it's still 9mm. You got people buying, 5 million more people buying ammo now with snap of a finger.
Yeah. And
training classes are through the roof for new shooters. All, in this area here, I never really wanted to get into it, but there's such a backlog here that I've been thinking about trying to get my NRA cert real quick and just doing some basic pistol instruction, because there are classes now that are booked out for the next 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
And people just can't get the training that they want because they're all booked. They're all full.
Yeah. Massive demand came online. Let me just remind everyone who's out there joining us here with us right now, smash the thumbs ups, guys. We really appreciate that. That'll help float us up here in the algorithm, get a little bit more attention. I think we had a perfect storm, right? To go to what Joe's saying here. You had, so first of all, not all the ammunition's being made on the northeast, in the northeast part of the country, but a lot, the old school stuff. So when you had that COVID shutdown, all over the country, you had people initially shut down, and then when the firearm industry was deemed essential, you had other places going back. But those northeast places, not so much, right? Those particular places did not go back, and there's different pockets where guns were being made in those places that the guns and stuff like that not available. Then you had everyone all of a sudden start panicking over the lockdowns, and then rioting, looting, and stuff like that. People started going, "Oh, I'm going to have to defend myself." Remember, they were letting out prisoners. And then you were having all these things happen. So then, yes, massive demand came online. A lot of those places that massive demand came online were very liberal places with money who all of a sudden panicked. And as to go to what Joe is saying, maybe a normal guy buys an AR and 1,000 rounds. Maybe those guys, try to get up on a different level. Okay, and then there's a lot of other demand out there. I think there's even a bigger demand than the civilian demand that's not necessarily anyone's accounting for. We were seeing in other countries where they were so their ammo was so low that soldiers were training and basically going pew pew when they were training because they didn't have ammo. So those were literally stories. Now that's outside of the country, but these are stories that we were talking about where in other countries, all of a sudden, there's not enough ammo. So I think all of those things all building up has kind of like led to this, and then you get a domino effect, right? The minute everyone starts going, "Oh, wait a second, there's not enough ammo," then everyone starts trying to get all the ammo, and yeah, I think I agree with that. Who knows when that stops?
Yeah.
Who knows if it stops at all for like the next year or 2 years.
Best case scenario, we see ammo starting to return to normal in the fall of next year. I think that's best case scenario.
Yeah.
I don't know though. Only because the amount of backlog, we're at least 3 months behind right now. I don't see demand dropping until February 1st. So that backlog is just going to continue going for orders. So by the time all that stuff gets cleared out, I think Pete Brownell is right on when he's saying third quarter. I honestly think fall. I think entering in fourth quarter is probably more likely. But we'll see if this continued demand continues to go, and some of these companies start looking at, all right, well, it's not just that there's a temporary increase, but now we have 7 million new gun owners, let's say, for example, and that number keeps getting thrown around pretty solidly. Then they may be looking long term and think, all right, well, we can ramp up production a little bit because we know we have that many more people to sell to. Now, obviously, not all 7 million of them are gonna, once this thing dies down, they may just stick their gun in the closet and never shoot it again. Who knows? But at least a good portion of that anyway is still going to continue going on. And even if you retain 20% as shooters, that's still a 20% increase in demand. And hopefully a lot of these companies are taking that into account. I know they're looking really hard at some of that stuff. My best bet to everybody would be, there's still going to be ammo out there for the next year. It's going to be the shortages aren't going to get any worse than they are now. Prices, I don't think, are going to get any worse. I don't think the market will bear any worse prices, any higher prices, I guess I should say. If there's something that you need to buy it. If you can wait, if you're laying in, your 15th case of 223, maybe don't buy that 16th case. Leave a little bit out there in the market for somebody else. On the other side of it, if you're looking at those niche calibers that are still on the shelf, and you're shooting, whatever, 46, 70 long Colt, or I have no idea, but whatever a niche caliber is nowadays, right? If you need to buy that, I would say buy it and get what you would normally shoot through. Don't stockpile crates of it, right? But if you normally go through 300 rounds in a year, let's say, buy your 300 rounds now, because whatever you're seeing hit is going to transition down. So ammo companies, when you pull a caliber offline and do a change out, right? Because they only have so many machines that make so many different things. Some are always dedicated to 9mm, some are always 5.56. But when you have these other machines that they do for small batch runs of these other things, when you take that machine down, they can lose 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, day or two of production to switch over, depending on how crazy the caliber conversion is. So you can have machines that are down for a day or two, and that could be, tens or hundreds of thousands of rounds that get lost, that can't get made as they shut down to switch check calibers. So you got to think of the change on the front end and the back end. Yeah. So all those smaller caliber, all those are not smaller, but niche calibers that don't sell very well, that are still on the shelf right now. If you need that, I would suggest picking up what you need. Don't overbuy, but just pick up what you need, because ammo companies are going to be very hesitant to change over production lines and reset things, because it's more downtime, and more downtime means less production, less supply, and they're really, really doing a fantastic job. From the couple that I've talked to and really dug down deep into what they're doing, the bigger good names that I like, they are doing everything that they can to produce as much ammo as they can without sacrificing quality. And it's just amazing how hard they're working. The employees and those are the unsung heroes, right? I mean, you have employees that, the companies are working 365 right now. And if, basically, employees are getting pretty much unlimited overtime if they want it, to have somebody on the line constantly, all day, all night. So I would, those people are amazing, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have near the supply we have right now.
Yeah,
I'll volunteer to work that line just for a credit.
Right. Yeah. I actually joked that to one of them, like, look, I'll hop in my car now, I'll come down, I'll work,
it may
I'll work
come to that. Yeah. 42 Chilled says, unless there's a war. So let me just say this is a component of what's going on here. I think with the lockdown especially, and that lockdown continuing over the summer, a lot of people's emotions have been pushed low. So, and I think that kind of like sentiment that there's a civil war and all that kind of stuff has a lot of people out there on edge. I think what you have to do is look outside. Don't look at the TV to figure that out. Look out the window. If people are out there going about their lives, most people are going about their lives, then everything's okay. I know there's certain cities where crazy things are happening, but if people are living their lives, we're not really on that edge, okay? Now, if we just keep cycling through, this particular thing has taken out maybe 200,000 people over this entire lockdown. I know a lot of people have gotten sick, but it's not really this big thing that everyone's trying to make it out to be. Okay, so if they're able to keep cycling that through and pushing people down, then yes, something eventually is going to break, for people being forced to stay home and all this kind of stuff. But let's say we have that scenario, right? Let's say we're really there on the edge of that. We already have enough ammo to take all of us out many times over. That already exists. Everyone's already got that. Okay? Military, police departments, people, everyone's already got that much ammo to do that kind of damage. So we don't really, the ammo situation, the guns and everything that's already out there is not really going to have an effect on that. What I think more has an effect on those kinds of things is whether or not these guys are allowed, whether or not the Supreme Court just sits back and lets lots of these places just, the governments and stuff like that, just take over and run everything and have no plan of when you could go back to your normal life based off of a flu that's always existed all throughout time and will always exist. We're not getting rid of things like the flu unless we all go robot or something like that.
Well, I can't say when I was in the military, when I was a drill sergeant, we were shooting ammo with the basic training privates from Vietnam, like the Vietnam era. So that is true what you said about the ammo. It is enough in, population that they have ready,
Yeah. I think I'm just like what I'm saying about that is I think we already have everything. If we really want to do it to each other, we could do it. The question is, do we want to do it? And we all have to ask, regardless of what's got you on edge and who you are, why you're on edge and all that kind of stuff. If you really want to do it, Why? What's the thing that's doing that to you? Is it just because you can't get out there and go to work and run your business or just breathe fresh air that you're worried because someone's trying to make you wear a mask? When the funny thing is, a mask alone, if this is really a threat, none of these masks are capable of stopping the particles from getting through to you. Okay?
Yeah.
Then the mask alone is not good enough. You're going to have to wear eye protection. You're going to have to wear gloves. You're going to pretty much have to get in a spacesuit. Right?
Well,
So,
I pretty much said if it was any real concern, airports and restaurants wouldn't be open right now.
yeah. They wouldn't be these guys. They wouldn't be. There wouldn't be the football games or whatever's going on. All the sports stuff. There wouldn't be the stupid bubble idea. Now I don't track sports. Okay, I really don't. The last time I thought of sports, I think, is last night because Babyface said that the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think someone correct me on this. I think it's Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup. I think that
Sure.
happened. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah,
Right? So I don't track that stuff, but it's all like a game, right? There's a special bubble. People are sneaking people into the bubble. No one has any clue of what's happening.
No, it's so bizarre. So, when I went to Montana, obviously I flew out there, and it's my first time flying since this whole COOF thing, and so I mean, like on the way out there, these people were militant about wearing your mask, like the flight attendant, like militant. And but here's the thing, they come through with the cart and they give you your little snack bag, right? And it was like a bottle of water and wafer cookie thing and pretzels, and they come through and they give you your regular soft drink, after that. But so everybody on the plane has to wear a mask, but they give everyone drinks at the exact same time, and everybody's got their mask off at the exact same time on this freaking plane. But yet, as soon as you're not done, when you get done with your, drinking your drink and eating your pretzels, then you got to put the mask back on because, oh my God.
Yes.
And it's so
bizarre. If anything was in the air, you're now putting that mask on over your face.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
When
I was up in
no sense. There's no sense at all.
When I was in North Carolina, one of the things I noticed, and the same thing took place in Georgia as well. You go into a restaurant, you got to have it on but prior to sitting. As soon as your food comes, you can take it off. And like I said, to me, that's just an indication that this is not as serious as it should be, right? Because what it comes down to is the dollar. How can we continue to make the dollar so we keep the machine running?
I think it's an exercise in control. Right,
100%.
so it's and not just so much the making people wear the masks alone. It's just even letting things open back up. Like, hey, we control this. We can tell you what's good. People, if they want to protest, riot, and burn cities down, they don't need masks. Okay, they can go out in any number and burn cities down. These guys over here, if you want to go into a restaurant, you need the mask while you're walking in, while you're sitting there. It's just an exercise in control. And with control, you have to give something. You can't just say no to everything, because eventually what happens, the people you're trying to control just go, forget it. We're not going to live like this. We're going to start pulling triggers, right? Things are really going to go bad here. So I think that this is just a thing that we have to live with. But the problem that happens with a lot of politicians is that once they get this power, they don't want to give it up. And we're already seeing that there's there's judges saying that all of this stuff is unconstitutional. You can't, and they don't even have a plan. It's not like they're like, okay, this is going to go on for 2 weeks and then end. There's no plan to end it. The plan is to basically keep cycling it from now on.
Yeah.
So
we're seeing that insanity right now here in Indiana. So Indiana's a red state, like hard red state, right? Our governor, if you would have asked on March 1st, all the polls showed that, Holcomb was going to win by 65-70% of the vote, right? The Democrats ran a throwaway candidate at him. I mean, this guy's just a joke, because they knew you can't beat him. Now, September 15th, everything was supposed to go back to 5.0 and open back up. He doubled down. Now it's, 5.1 or whatever the hell it is. Then just now, he now again increased his little thing out again now to November 1st. And Indiana has a part-time legislature.
Mm-hmm.
They can only come back when called back from the governor, unless, they're going into regular session. So they can do an emergency session if called back from the governor. Well, now Holcomb's been doing this emergency session now, emergency orders that he has to renew every 30 days, but he's renewed them like 4 times now. And it's just insane.
You can't be in emergency mode.
You can't be in emergency mode for 4 months.
No.
And now we're on. It'll be at least 5 months. It's insane.
That's permanent. That only happens in countries that become total dictatorships.
Yeah, 100%. So all the stuff he's doing has to be done by the legislature. Even our attorney general came out and said you need to call back the assembly. First, the attorney general called it out and says blatantly unconstitutional originally what he signed. Mm-hmm. So he rolled back a little bit on some of the penalties. But, every month the attorney general comes out with, you need to call the assembly back. You do not have this authority. Mm-hmm. But yet here we go. We're trucking along. Right now, the governor's ratings are tanking. And the libertarian candidate in this state, I believe, has passed now the Democrat. And he's polling like in the, in like the 30th percentile range. Yeah. And Holcomb, I think, is going to be in the 40s now. Yeah. Like 100%, this guy's going to lose. I can't imagine, especially with him doubling down now again and extending it to November 1st. I don't know who the hell is going to vote for him. I mean, either he's taken his base so far for granted and he's pandering to just these fear-mongering imbeciles. It boggles the mind.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. For the first time in decades upon decades upon decades, Indiana may not have a Republican governor. Well, and he's done it to himself.
Yeah, that's called fear. If you look at Florida as an example, right? So when Florida was like, okay, we're done with this, everything went up a little bit, but it really has not been that bad. Florida is open. I think Governor DeSantis said Florida's pretty much open. There are places that still have mask restrictions in place, but technically in Florida, you can't even enforce those. So in other words, Gainesville's a hippie, very liberal town. I walk around here, there's no one saying there's people wearing a mask. There's no one saying you have to put on a mask, right? Mm-hmm. And it's schools they found here in Florida doing fine. Colleges, different story where these kids are getting together, drinking, doing things that is pushing up their likelihood of getting infected with something. Maybe not so much, but like my kids, one is doing online schooling and the other one actually went back. He goes to FSU. He went back, but he doesn't party, get crazy and all that kind of stuff. He's fine. I think somewhere in the last couple of weeks, he actually took a COVID test. It's fine. So I think when you look at other states, look at New York. They just stayed in draconian mode and now they're spiking again.
Yeah, because what they're doing doesn't work, and I know, mm-hmm. I know because my oldest daughter's 22. Mm-hmm. A lot of college kids who have tested positive for COVID, mm-hmm. and every single one of them that I know, and there's a couple dozen now at this point, through her, mm-hmm. Every single one that tested positive, more than half of them said they didn't even know they were sick, and the other, little less than half said, I felt like a tingle in my throat, and I couldn't taste anything mm-hmm. for a day or two, and that was like it.
And they got over it and went back to normal.
Yeah, all of them got over it. Now they're immune to it. Doesn't matter. It's not to say that COVID, which is really SARS-2, CoV-2, mm-hmm. Is really just a second version of SARS, isn't serious for people with comorbidities, just like any illnesses, right? Yeah. But the idea that we lock down a country over it, that we do what we're doing, it's beyond preposterous.
That's
why
you
insane. The science doesn't support it.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to ask, did they ever come out with a sanctioned unified test that they're giving everybody? Because last I heard about the test was they was given 3 different tests, mm-hmm. and one of them you can put like Dawn on it, and it will come back as being positive for COVID. When I went to the hospital, they did the one, whereas like they was all up touching my brain.
That's the swab. Yeah, that's the better one, I believe. Yeah, you really need to get up in there. So I had that before we went to SHOT Show, because like a month or so before we all went to SHOT Show, so not January, I'm gonna say like November or December, Um, I actually got sick last November, December with something. Didn't It was pretty bad, but I didn't go to the doctor. It went away, and then it came back and smacked me up again. And I went to the doctor, and they did that crazy test, and they're like, you have the flu. I think they said it was the B strain, and that's how they did it. So that's pretty much how they're doing it for this. There may be other ways, but it's tough to figure out. And I think they're still running different things. I think this would be like probably Joe's area of expertise. I could say you're the closest person in this particular group right now that knows anything about the medical stuff. But I think we can all see BS going on.
Yeah, yeah. And it's what I did before as an operations manager. I developed policies and procedures, for the clinicians to use that worked under me, and obviously for me to use too when we're in the OR. And you look at the data, you look at the science, peer-reviewed, published studies. You take all that information and you make informed decisions with it. You base your policies and procedures around that. Coming into May of 2020, even as early as May of 2020, every single study that was out there when it came to face coverings showed they're not effective, or minimally, N95s were minimally, had minimal effect for virus transmission when worn and fitted properly, which is extremely important. So it's got to create.
And I think also over distance, right? Because distance gives the ability for that thing to be less effective. Right.
Yeah. And there was actually a study on two studies on cloth face coverings that showed virtually no efficacy whatsoever. So you have all that coming into May 2020, which is why everybody, including Fauci, was saying, no, don't wear a mask. It doesn't work. It's bull. It doesn't help. And then all of a sudden, toward the end of May, now everybody should wear a mask. It's because polls changed and the media did their thing. You can't be basing public policy based upon feelings, right? Especially when it comes to this, you have to base it on science and data. And if there was actually true efficacy there, sure, but hand washing, right, is number one way to prevent the spread of diseases, including viruses. Hand washing, number one. Two, don't touch your face. Don't touch your eyes, your mouth, your nose, your ears, or private areas, right? You do those two things, you're probably going to be, for the most part, you're going to be way better off than 99% of the people, and certainly way better off than wearing even an N95 mask. Yeah. Next, things that we know that work: social distancing, which isn't social distancing at all. I hate that term. But yeah, separation, physically separating yourself from other people. 6 feet, really 9, but whatever. You're going to cut down on the likelihood of airborne transmission, because any of the virus particles that are expelled in a small enough form that will easily pass through a mask, that go through the air, they die on exposure to the air, right? So then you're only talking about droplet precautions. And droplet precautions are the only thing theoretically that would help with a surgical type mask that actually has a moisture barrier on it, right? Theoretically. But of course, it's going to blow in through the sides because surgical masks aren't. You get a coated N95 mask, yeah, but you get into all these things.
You're not in a spacesuit.
But right, yeah, you're not in a spacesuit. And one of the things that I saw when I was on the plane, there were a couple people coming back, and they had on goggles, a mask, and gloves, and they wore it like they were on it.
Tight.
And then their snack came. They left the goggles on, but they took the mask down. They took their gloves off. They ate, all happy. They had it off for like a while, right? Because I could see diagonally a couple rows in front of me. And then as soon as they were done, they put everything back on, and they're all like, they're safe again. It's just, if you were really that concerned, what sort of? I mean, you're just. Like fitting goggles and N95 mask. That's just,
why even go? Do you even have to go where you're going? And I think one of the problems that we have is that is the whole Hollywood or media aspect of this, right? The fact that we have these experts getting in front of cameras and getting wined and dined and romanced by the media is why we don't actually have real fair and balanced advice getting given out here, right? Because if what you're saying is it's science, why aren't these guys talking that? And what they're doing right now, they can never talk that. So we're gonna live in like voodoo for the rest of for the rest of history, because all of a sudden science went out the door. Why did it go out the door? because they were talking to the media, and the media wanted them to say certain things. So right here we were talking about Gainesville. Gainesville, a couple of weeks after they had that stupid mask thing, actually dropped it. And here's what happened: they dropped it. They had a city council meeting, and this liberal town said, "No, we're dropping that mask thing." And then everyone in the town was like, "Oh my God, why are you dropping it? We're gonna die." That's what the people said, and they put it back on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's not science. What do we, and like I think, like you said, it's the comorbidity part of it that people need to think about here. And the CDC put out that study saying that, what was it, 94% of the people who died, they had multiple other factors after having COVID, right? That led to them dying. So for sure, like my dad has multiple factors. Old dude, he's got lots of different problems that come along with being old and all that kind of stuff, right? And he had COVID-19. He survived,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, so even people with multiple factors are still surviving. But if you've got like some serious multiple factors, it's not so good for you. You just need to stay away from people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Even if you needed to travel, like that, those two people who were wearing both the goggles, the N95 mask, and the
Mm-hmm.
gloves, if they would have kept that on the entire time, then at least they're being consistent, right? But you're in an airplane, and the flight back, on the way out there, basically every middle seat was empty, and there were a couple of rows that were, empty. And once we got off, several people changed seats. There's only like one person in most of the row. I was lucky. Person in my row got up and moved, and I had my row to myself, which was nice on the way out there,
Mm-hmm.
just so I could kick out. I got long
Yeah.
legs. I
Yeah,
hate
push
planes.
those armrests up.
Exactly. It was nice. On the way back, though, the flight was packed. Like almost every seat was full.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the most packed flight. And they're just happily doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, they put it all back on. It's like, if you really felt that threatened that you have to wear, your sealed goggles,
Mm-hmm.
N95 and gloves, why in the hell would you take them off on a plane?
What,
And
to eat?
to
I mean, you
eat,
can
right?
starve.
To eat what was, a 100-calorie bag of pretzels and, a little wafer cookie. It wasn't like they just took it off for a split second, maybe to get a drink because they were really, dehydrated or
Mm-hmm.
something. I mean, they had it off and they're just, talking and eating and enjoying themselves. It's like,
Yeah.
where's
I
consistent? Where's the logic behind that?
There isn't
It's
any.
insane.
Yeah, I've been traveling since I was 5 years old, man, getting on planes, but I hate it.
Hmm.
And I think in somewhere in the next couple of weeks, Lola and I have to travel. I'm not even looking forward to it because we're flying. I was trying to convince her that we should just drive, and she's like, "No, I'm not. I don't want to." Where we're going is considerably far, but yeah, it's this kind of nonsense. I just don't even really want to go through it. I'm gonna
I
sit there
miss,
with a mask just as a game.
yeah, I
Yeah.
miss flying pre 9/11. I worked for a company called Baxter, a large medical company, back
Mm.
in
Yeah.
99 to 2000.
Mm-hmm.
And for a year, almost a full year, I was on a plane pretty much I wasn't married at the time. I wasn't seeing anybody, and I took a traveling job, and I was on a plane every week to a different city all over
Mm-hmm.
the country, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally I'd be somewhere 2 weeks, whatever. But pretty much, I think I had, I don't know, almost nearly 200 segments in that 1 year period. I got a lot of free tickets
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a
to
lot of
fly.
miles, a lot of
Yeah, I got a lot of
frequent
miles.
flyer miles. Yeah.
That was back when they actually gave good miles and good
Right.
rewards.
Right.
And I loved flying pre 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
I would show up at the airport. I would have carry-on bags with all my stuff in it. Most of the time, I wouldn't even check a bag.
Mm-hmm.
I would throw, whatever I had go through. Everything was great. You were treated as a customer. People were happy to see you. You go through security. They're happy. It's not, it was good times.
Yeah.
And then since 9/11, I've hated flying, and I only fly when we absolutely have to. We don't have a choice. I mean, for years, I drove straight through to Florida, back and forth when I go down there to visit friends and family and stuff, vacation. I'd take the 18-hour drive over hopping on a plane because I hate flying now. I hate the hassle. And now with the mask thing, it's just one more level of stupidity. It's just feel good.
Yeah.
It's theater.
You
Doesn't
you
do it.
become a criminal. You become sexually assaulted.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all kinds of insanity going on, right? Just to like get on a plane and go from one place to the next.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. Sick and tired of that. Let me see. There's a whole bunch of different things we have to talk about. I do want to bring this up just to remind everyone. So this is what did I say episode number this was? I'll tell you guys. I think it was
649.
Was it 649? Yes. Look at you, man. You're still young enough that your brain is working, even though you shaved, so we didn't see your gray hairs. That's fine. You don't want the people to know. I should have screen captured you, Mike.
It wasn't quick enough. It wasn't quick enough.
I know. I didn't think about it until I was like, why did you even warn him? You should have just let him go on the air. You guys missed it. It's all behind the scenes. Mike had a lot of gray hairs out there. Anyway, 649. But guess what? So episode 666 is coming up.
Nope.
And someone suggested that we do that on Halloween.
Nope.
So we're gonna do it Halloween. There you go.
I won't be watching. I'm out.
You're not watching? You can't handle it?
I'm out. Nope, not going to do it.
Halloween's actually going to be a Saturday, so we're going to do I didn't know you were superstitious about the numbers, but we're going to have an episode on Saturday, October 31st, Halloween. It's going to be that episode that Joe can't hear. Don't tell Joe about it. And listen, so everyone showing up on air is going to have a costume on. So we're going to do a normal thing like what we're doing here. I'll have a costume, whoever else is coming. If anyone wants to come on for a couple of minutes, like guys who've already been on, and you've got a costume, feel free. You're invited to come on for a couple of minutes, show off your Halloween costume or whatever. Mike, I'm sure.
Sounds fun.
I don't know if you do the Halloween thing with your kid. No? Don't practice? No Halloween this year for you people? You're gonna let the powers that be, the Illuminati's taking away Halloween from you all.
I'm not getting a new one, but I'm gonna have a costume, and I'll wear a previous costume from previous years and rock that. But
okay, yeah, I know you guys get dressed up for Halloween, Joe.
Hell yeah. I'm American.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I put on a costume?
What is going on with Mike? Mike, you don't do the costume thing on Halloween?
Nah.
Why? Explain to us why. Was this like a hood thing?
It's not peer pressure though.
Because I grew up in the hood. Halloweens were not fun, man. Halloweens you got beaten up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you got beaten up. You got your candy stolen. Yeah, I'm familiar with all that.
Or you died.
Yeah, but my whole thing was, it was more about how I learned about Halloween, the backstory behind it, and it's more like, okay, how do you actually promote something that you're totally against? And I think I've only done Halloween, like I was around my daughter one time for Halloween, but she was even like, she wanted to go trick-or-treating, but then when I bought all the candy to give out, she didn't want to go. She just wanted to sit in the house and just eat
the candy. Yeah. That's not how it works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I was more fortunate that she wanted to take that route versus going out. But we actually ended up buying her a little costume, and you know, she actually walked around the house and in the driveway with it on.
Yeah.
But
kids love to dress up. I think it's good for the parents too. Parents should play dress up every now and then. You know, it's good. We were talking about the birds and the bees. Helps lubricate the birds and the bees situation.
I think it's fun. One of the favorite Halloweens that I had, a couple of the favorites. One of them was the whole family went as pirates, and we went. Cool. This one, my youngest was. I don't know if it was her. She was probably just barely one, I think, for that year. But we took the little red wagon flyer that we had, and my wife got all creative with it, basically turned it into a pirate ship, and we all went as pirates.
Okay.
And it was really cool. So we were going trick-or-treat and dragging the wagon behind us. It was like a pirate ship. That was pretty cool. Of course, you know, at the end of the day, we threw all the candy away and then just, you know, got candy the next day.
Yeah, it's not so much about the Halloween. I know my mom was super she's really paranoid, right? And there was a time back in the days that people would do terrible things. I think they still do it. Remember? People would put like razor blades in stuff and a poison or whatever. So my mom would, she was like, yeah, don't take anything from strangers. But it's the idea of the whole thing. I remember, and I think it's while we were doing this gun YouTube thing, Lola and I went to a Halloween party one year that was pirate themed, where everyone was dressed up like a pirate. And that was fun. Yeah, I think I really enjoyed that. So, yeah, we're gonna run it again. We're gonna do it again. Whoever wants to be in. I'm just saying.
It is. Yeah. I got one more favorite that wound up going
Yeah.
going to Disney for one of their Halloween parties, and
Mm-hmm.
we all dressed up. Well,
Mm-hmm.
my daughter and I went as she went as Perry the Platypus from Phineas and Ferb. It's an
Mm-hmm.
amazing show. If you guys have
Mm-hmm.
never seen it, it's fantastic.
I know Phineas and Ferb. Yep. Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went as Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and
That I
uh,
don't know
he,
that.
he's the nemesis to Perry the Platypus.
Oh, okay.
The guy in the lab coat who's always making innators, Uh, so anyway, that that
Yeah.
that that was a lot of fun, and she was,
Yeah.
I don't know, she was around 11-ish, maybe
Mm-hmm.
10,
Mm-hmm.
no more than 12,
Yeah.
and that was really fun. We had, I mean, the whole family had an amazing time, but my
Mm-hmm.
my wife and youngest had dressed up kind of um, matching-ish, if you
Mm-hmm.
will, to same type theme, and I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. I think it was Mad Hatter and ish, I know Alice in the Wonderland and Cheshire Cat. That was
Oh,
it.
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and I thought about doing the Mad Hatter thing, but we had come up with our own thing beforehand. We weren't coordinating. Then all of a sudden, last minute, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of those memories and a lot of that fun that go along with it, if you're into that sort of thing and you can do that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Last
It's all about
year,
memories for me.
yeah, absolutely. I think it's memories. It's fun to get dressed up. Last year, Walter's daughter got married in Louisiana, and she had like a costume party for her wedding. Everyone had to go there dressed up,
That's cool.
And I went as Rick from Rick and Morty. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. And then Lola bit my style. I told her to get her own thing to do. She bit my style, and she went as one of the Rick and Morty aliens. But I think she looked cute in the alien outfit. But so that kind of stuff is always fun, and it was fun going to. That's like the most fun wedding I ever went to. Which I'm not a fan of going to weddings. I didn't go to my own wedding, but that was a fun wedding. Everyone was all dressed up. I knew there was going to be another Rick and Morty, but I was the best one. I was Ghetto Rick out there, and there is such a thing. There is such a thing. If you know, there's this like the
There are an infinite
multiverse.
number of Ricks.
Yeah, infinite Ricks, but I was the best one. So,
Hmm.
the other guy that was Rick was all mad. I was like, dude, don't be mad. I'm doing this way better than you. So, I think that kind of stuff is fun. We're gonna do it again. Whoever wants to be down, you guys are welcome to be down. I'm forewarning you all. And then also, while we're talking about that, I want to remind everyone, November 7th, Andrews Custom Leather is having an open house in St. Augustine where the Andrews Custom Leather shop is. So that's Saturday, and we're going to start around noon, go till 5. And everyone's welcome to show up there if you want to come to St. Augustine for the weekend, or if you're in Florida close by, you want to show up there for a couple of hours, hang out with us. Sam's going to give away some stuff. I'll give away stuff. Walter's going to be there. Babyface is going to be there. I'm going to put up a link soon as I get it from them, like a Facebook event link. You guys are welcome to come if you're able. I know that you're not necessarily going to be able to, but you guys would be welcome to come hang out with us. There's going to be a food truck, all of that. So, Brian Quick said, never watch Rick and Morty. Greatest cartoon ever.
I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of Rick and Morty?
Never heard of it?
No, never
Oh
heard
wow!
of it.
All right.
Okay.
Or Tom and Jerry.
No.
Also an excellent cartoon.
Yeah, it's excellent. It from the 1950s. Okay.
I still watch Tom and Jerry if I
Yeah,
could.
Rick and Morty is awesome. I've watched every single Rick and Morty that exists like 20 times. Every single one. Yeah, I know a lot about Rick and Morty. It's one of the coolest TV shows out there, man.
He's got the hardest working liver in the galaxy.
Yeah. See, Joe is all up on this.
I'll check it out and I'll give you a report.
I think you would enjoy it. I think you would enjoy it. It's fun. So yeah, everyone out there, figure out what your ideas are. If you want to come to the Sam Andrews thing, we'll get all that sorted out, and I'm inviting Sam to come on and talk to everyone about that. That's gonna be fun too. So I'm gonna be up there with probably one of my rigs from Sam Andrews. Be all kitted out.
If I was in the area, I would come by.
Yeah.
It looks like they make some really nice leather holsters. I've seen a lot of the pictures posted. They look really nice.
Yeah, they do pretty cool stuff, and he's a great guy, great character. Jerry Parker says Pickle Rick. There you go, Pickle Rick. That's a good Halloween costume actually, Pickle Rick. So, let's see, you got a Pickle Rick right there.
No, it's not
No,
Pickle
what's
Rick,
that?
but
Oh, Snowball. Snowball.
Snowball.
Yeah, Snowball.
I had Snowball,
Yeah,
and I
who
got my.
knows about Snowball out there? Let's see who knows about Rick and Morty. What is Snowball? So there you go. Brian Quick says I've never seen any John Wicks. So he's never seen Rick and Morty or John Wick. What is wrong with you? You've never seen not even John Wick 1. Wow. Have you seen Bad Boys 1? Have you at least seen Bad Boys 1? Brian Quick, let us know. Or Bad Boys 2. I think which one was the most popular one? Was it Bad Boys 2? I think so. I think
Yeah, I know. I honestly preferred the first one to the rest, but yeah, I think the other
okay.
one was.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, number one was really good. Number 2 is very popular. Number 3 is crap. Don't waste your time. Yeah. Did you see it? Did you see it,
yes,
Mike?
I've seen it, but I believe number 3 opened up the gateway for the next generation for that bad boy lineage to continue.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, so that's how I look at it, because it is a franchise that will catch, that will have Martin and Will. They'll hand it over to whoever's going to replace them. But then when they do that, every now and then they're going to have a guest visit on the upcoming.
I'm never looking at it again. I am never ever going to watch it again. It was so horrible. It was so horrible.
I'm curious to find out what happened to the son.
Aliens came and kidnapped him. That's what happened. And so Bad Boys 3 was so stupid. Will Smith got tagged up with 5.7 out of a PS90 from a dude on a motorcycle. He got tagged up with a 5.7. He had no body armor on, and 6 months later he's walking around. How do you even survive that?
It's movies, man. It's movies.
No. You're not going to be walking around 6 months later. I understand if they went to like 5 years later or some craziness like that. How he even survived that, I don't know. So, yeah, not a fan. Yeah, some Brick says Michael Bay just has terrible scenes in his movies with the exception of 13 Hours. Yeah, like 13 Hours was good.
It's hard to argue with that. Yeah, I thought 13 Hours they did a fantastic job.
Yeah, maybe they played down the Michael Bay stuff in there, because based on a thing that actually happened. So, Brian Quick says yes, seen Bad Boys 1 and 2. Let's see what you got here. Solenia. This is more Rick and Morty stuff. If you guys.
More Rick and Morty stuff.
Yeah, more Rick and Morty stuff. Solenia. That's deep. That's like 3rd level Rick and Morty with Solenia.
Yeah.
Anyone who knows about that, you're a real Rick and Morty. I know about that.
You're going beyond Rick and Morty, or beyond Pickle Rick on this.
That was the episode with Machete. Oh, what is that guy's real name? The guy that. Oh
wow, yeah.
The guy that was in.
I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Yeah, he's that Mexican actor who always plays the bad guy.
Yeah, he was actually a prison in real life.
Yeah, what is that guy's name? Okay, someone's gonna tell us.
Yeah, somebody will know off the top of their head.
Yeah, he's been in so many movies, man.
Trejo.
Yeah, Danny Trejo. Danny Trejo. Yeah. Lots of guest stars.
Rick and Morty thumbs down. What?
Who gave Rick and Morty a thumbs down?
Kathleen. Why did she do that? That's so sad.
When did Kathleen do that?
Hurt. Right in the feels.
Jeff Stevens says Antoine Fuqua. You got to see the movies he directs. Yeah, I think Antoine Fuqua is a good director. That's not the guy. Antoine Fuqua is not married to. Wait a second. Hold on. Angela Bassett. Is that the guy that's married to Angela Bassett? No, right?
I wouldn't know.
I don't know.
Not sure.
Yeah, Antoine Fuqua makes good movies, though. I know he's done a bunch of stuff with Denzel Washington.
Let me ask you this, Hank.
Mm-hmm.
What was the best gun movie before John Wick that you would actually sell people on?
Best gun movie before John Wick. Before John Wick. I'm gonna say Heat.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I I
It's
I like
tough
I
to
like
beat Heat.
Heat, but
Yeah. Okay.
we're going a little too far back for that. I would say
Okay.
more recent modern memory for me
Mm-hmm.
would probably be like The Way of the Gun.
Okay, well now
Uh,
realistic scenes with the firearms also, because
yeah.
I think he narrowed it down as
I
far
didn't
as
see Way of
realistic.
the Gun more than one time. So I'm
No,
not saying it was a bad movie, but I didn't see it more than one time, and I can't remember that they had really good firearm handling and realistic
what
firearms action.
what so there wasn't a lot of firearms
Mm-hmm.
play in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like there wasn't a lot of shooting in it, but
Mm-hmm.
what shooting scenes there were
Mm-hmm.
done pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
For up until that date, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they their guns would run dry. They did some single-handed weapons manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
One of the guys gets shot in the arm or hand, and he's having to reload
Mm-hmm.
with one hand and stuff. I mean, it was decent. It was decent. It really was.
Okay. Okay.
Equilibrium.
Who said equilibrium? That's not
I
realistic. Come
I
on now. You
well,
might as well
not
say the
realistic, no,
Matrix. You might as well
but
say the Matrix.
I really enjoyed Equilibrium
Mm-hmm.
as a fun movie.
Yeah.
That's like a guilty pleasure movie. I've seen that movie 2 or 3 times now.
What's the movie with the
It's
Thor
just
guy that recently came out? That had some good gun handling in it.
what's the movie? I'm sorry, I missed part
you're
of that.
not talking extraction, are you?
Was it Extraction? It had the Thor dude
Yeah,
in there.
yeah, Extraction.
Was
Yeah,
that
yeah,
Extraction?
Chris
Okay.
Helmsworth.
Yeah, Chris Helmsworth. Yeah.
Overall, that was decent.
Yeah, I thought that had some good stuff. Is it? I'm sorry. I think Heat is like textbook.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree with that. I think they
Maybe.
did the research before they actually made the movie
Yeah.
to pull you in more.
Maybe. What was that movie where they landed on D-Day again? I think that was Spielberg.
Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan was
Mhm.
pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
Um, that was hardcore, man. I remember looking at that for the first time, like, what is happening? You drop right into that. The way they did that whole movie of them landing on the beaches and all that was, yeah, that made it really, 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 really tough to do that. But in terms of really getting into, I mean, that was just everyone dying, right? Those guys were just like cannon fodder. But
Mhm.
Heat, I think if you look at Heat, man, it's textbook. It
Mhm.
was intense when I watched it, and I wasn't as deep into the gun world back then. But even if I watch it now, I'm like, this is amazing.
Yes.
You
Heat
know?
was one of those movies that I would watch like every Friday when I didn't go out.
Mm-hmm.
It was either Heat and Bad Boys. I would always watch those
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
Yeah. Now, Bad Boys has them like jumping and shooting. I always, I've always wanted to do in a video that move where I'm like slow motion falling and dual. And Lola's like, no, that's not actually gonna happen. But I would love to. I would love to do that. I'm probably gonna do that one of these days, just to see, like, how
Well,
realistic.
I can actually tell you there's been a few times
Hmm.
I jumped and shot at targets from around walls,
Hmm.
and out of 3 times I've done
Hmm.
it, I probably only had one shot on a target.
Hmm.
So it's not really what you think it is, what you're capable
Yeah,
of doing.
yeah. It's the same thing like with dual wielding. You really can't be that accurate dual wielding.
Right.
You know, I'm sure there's someone out there that could do it. But yeah, it looks good. It looks good in a movie. I think if I ever decide I want to be Demo Ranch, I will do that diving through the air, falling slowly through the air, shooting at the same time, and screaming.
Landing on an air
Yeah.
mattress.
What was the movie with Keanu Reeves where they were like surfers, but he was undercover? What was that?
point
Point Break.
point blank.
Yeah,
Point break.
Point Break. I think. Yeah, was that? I can't. That was a good movie, but I can't remember if the gun handling was really realistic. I just remember the
I
part where Keanu was like shooting in there. Ah! He's all frustrated. I just remember that. So, Chris Bullis says RoboCop was the best. No realistic gun shooting in RoboCop. Uh, And DCG44 says, "Can you pull off the bounce?" is the question. Well, Yeah, you're gonna have to have a mattress that you're falling into.
Something, some kind of
Yeah,
mat.
yeah, you
Swimming
can't.
pool,
No,
perhaps.
yeah, you can't actually hit the ground. That's not
Yeah, that's
actually
going to be
happening.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean another cool one is the rolling on the ground while shooting at the same time. That'll be interesting. What's the craziest moves? Like I think about this, right? What's the craziest shooting move you see in a movie that you think, oh, I wonder. It might be totally ridiculous, but you think, I might be able to do that.
Either the sliding and shooting,
So,
or they jump on a cart as it's rolling and shooting. Come on now.
yeah. Um, I liked Fifth Element is one of my favorite movies.
Love that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and the part where his negotiation, he goes in and just shoots everyone, and just hits all these dudes. I think he just looked around the corner, if I'm not mistaken, and then he goes in there and he hits all of them. Yeah, you know. Um, so who is this? Chris Bullis says Wanted was the best.
Wanted was a fun movie.
Was that who was in that? Was it
That's the one where they could curve the bullets.
Yeah, Wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wanted. Yeah.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, can a bullet be curved?
No.
The wind. Technically, it happens.
Yeah, if you're shooting like 5 miles.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you toss the bullet out of the gun in such a way that it makes a curve? Did Mythbusters do that? I can't remember.
Yeah, Mythbusters did it, and it couldn't be done. So it was like wherever the firearm is pointing, that's the direction the bullet's gonna travel.
Yeah. Let's see. Armament and Axis says Mel Gibson rolling and shooting in Lethal Weapon LMAO.
With a mullet.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Those movies were awesome, man. Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Unfortunately, they ruined bullet manufacturing for a while there because everybody watched the cop killer bullets scene and it's like, oh my god, cop killers.
Yeah.
A lot of those late 80s, early 90s movies ruined a lot of things.
Yeah.
It ruined window tint, for example, right? How many cops are paranoid to death about window tint?
Yeah.
Crazy.
And then you had your ceramic Glock from Die Hard 2.
Yeah.
I always like in the movies where the guy does a roll and then, like this is how you're tactical. You ever saw that? You do the roll. There's a tactical roll. I don't know if that keeps you somehow from getting shot by rolling into a scene.
The only person I've ever seen do that in real life and like pull it off is Instructor Zero.
That's who I was thinking you were gonna say.
That dude is. I had watched. So this has been probably 4 or 5 years ago, but I got to shoot with him. With Military Arms Channel, Tim from there, on his range. And I was out there for the day, and I had seen, some of the moves he had done in videos, and I just looked at him like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
But this guy, we were out on the range, and we were doing something, and, he warming up or whatever, and he just he went into a roll, and then it was like, you remember the video game Metroid?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody remember Metroid?
Yeah, that's
the woman in the suit that could just like turn into a ball and spin. Mm-hmm. Well, he just flipped into he was standing right here. He was standing right here. Mm-hmm. He rolled, came out and shot the steel in front of me, and I mean it was like that. It was just it blew my mind the first time I saw it in person because on video you cannot get an appreciation for how quick and smooth and fast Zero is.
Instructor Zero is built like Wolverine is supposed to be in real life. Not real life, right? Wolverine's not real. But in the comic books, Wolverine's supposed to be a little squat dude. And Instructor Zero is a little squat dude. You can do that when you're shorter. You can do those little...
Yeah, I was gonna say he's really short.
If you're taller and lanky,
I mean, you guys have seen the pictures of me. Him. For example, stand next to me and Tim, and I think he comes maybe mid-shoulder on me, maybe. But no, he's no joke. And there's a video that he did, and I would have loved to have been able there and see it in person, where it was him versus Markida, Doug Markida. And he had an airsoft or I don't know, airsoft or simunition, and Markida had marking knife. and they did, the things, and it was the first time the two of them had met. So when Markaida came at him with the knife, you know, he did that roll, and he was able to pop up on the other side. Without that move, I don't see how you don't get stabbed from a guy like him. So he was actually able to.
Yeah, I'm not rolling anywhere in the direction of Markaida. I'm just spraying bullets.
First of all, I don't think I could, even with mats and God knows what.
Yeah,
I don't think it's even the realm of possibilities. But so I mean, for this one person, that's a viable tactical move that has a definite place that works.
Yeah.
If for the rest of us, no.
I also really like Instructor Zero. Just a really nice person.
Yeah, I didn't recognize who he was because he didn't have his sunglasses on, and because I've seen him out when we was out at SHOT Show, and I was at the 511 store, and that's where I ran into him. And when I heard him talking, and then I looked at the other guy that was with him, I was like, oh, that's Instructor Zero. And then he heard me talking, and he was like, hey, my friend, and and then I went over to him, and when we started talking, I was like, well, I'm a fan. Can I get a picture? He was like, yeah. And I actually think I kneeled down to take the picture with him.
Looks like Joe froze, by the way. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get him back here. Yeah, Instructor Zero is a really nice guy. A couple of things in here. J Loafer says Demo Ranch curve the 45 ACP shot through PVC pipe. Kathleen Music Lover said, notice how many movies use Beretta 92s. Born to be a Shooter Josh says, have you guys watched the Jack Ryan series on Prime? It has some pretty badass weapon scenes. Pretty point on. Wait, hold on. Did we lose? We also... Okay, I hope everyone's still there. It looks like we also lost... Looks like we also lost Mike, so I don't know.
I'm right here.
Oh, you're there? Okay.
Yeah,
I lost you for a second. Okay.
Oh.
All right. No, okay.
I noticed the flicking going on.
Yeah, I think we lost. Here. I think we lost Joe. That's what happened. Okay. Yeah. So, where was I?
Actually, I've seen the Jack Ryan series.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily consider like a movie with guns in it. I don't compare military movies to like TV. John Wick. Yeah, okay. It's two different categories for me. But and that's how I kind of look at Jack Ryan series. It's more military related.
Okay. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I do actually really want to watch it. So
yeah, it's pretty decent. It's pretty decent. Has a great storyline behind it.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about that. Brick says, have you seen those Spetsnaz videos of those dudes sliding down staircases? I've seen a lot of crazy Spetsnaz. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool stuff. Leo P30SK says, best movie shooting scene is when Kate Beckinsale shot through the floor in Underworld. Yeah, okay. Definitely not even close to being realistic.
Underworld, that's the wolves, right?
Yeah, but in Underworld, she did a move where she just spun around and shot at the floor, and then it shot like a clean concentric circle in the floor.
Yeah.
And but look, Kate Beckinsale, definitely cute, so I guess we can forgive some things. Yeah. Let's see. Elfster's Rifles and Reloading says, I'm more like Instructor 12-pack. Okay. You go with that. You go with that. Yeah, we didn't get Joe back yet. Okay. Hopefully we'll get him back. He might have to restart his computer or something like that. Let's see. What is this? Brian Quick said, did you all see the memo released by the DNI that Hillary Clinton came up with a Russian collusion hoax? Nope. Haven't really kept up with that. So there we go. All right, while we're waiting here to get Joe back in, let's see what different stories we have here to go through. So do you guys remember, hold on, let me see if I could pull this up for you. Wait, what's going on here? So for some reason my camera is tripping. Everything's tripping here, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so So here's the story. I'm going to put this up. Remember the security guard in the church in Texas? That a guy came, like, just was in there with a gun and started shooting people, and the security guard came and got him in a couple of seconds?
With the headshot?
Yeah, you remember that story?
Correct.
Okay, so this is about that. It says, this is on NPR. It says, grand jury declines to indict church security guard who killed gunman in Texas. And it goes on to say, when a man pulled a shotgun out from under a long coat and started shooting into a church congregation near Fort Worth, Texas last winter, Jack Wilson didn't hesitate. Within seconds, the volunteer security guard unholstered his weapon and returned fire. With one shot, Wilson killed the 43-year-old gunman and kicked the shotgun away. And obviously this guy had already shot a couple of people. So anyway, this story goes on to talk about how they didn't indict him. Here's the weird thing. Why would they even be thinking about indicting him?
Because
of course they didn't indict him. He didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, because of the shooting, the school shootings. That's what they're looking at, and a lot of people don't really understand the law process. Because as we said earlier, it goes back to everything is based off of feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So of course the people that are saying prosecute him are the same people that are saying we don't need firearms.
Yeah, but that's what so by the way, we have Joe back here. What's up, Joe?
Hey, yeah, sorry about that. The internet in the whole house crashed, so it's back up now. I don't know if it was a storm that's blowing through or not, but if you lose me again, that's probably why. But
yeah,
hopefully
so we're talking about this guy in the church in Texas that there was a gunman in there and he killed 2 people, and this guy came in real fast and got him. And there's an article saying that they didn't indict him, and I'm wondering, why did we even go through the indictment process with this guy who clearly saved lives? Like, why would there even be an investigation coming out of that? You know?
Haters gonna hate, but like I said, that's what it comes down to. There's nothing more than the people that are always saying we don't need firearms, but those will be the first ones that always call the police officers for some form of security, or I need help, or I feel my life is in danger.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't get indicted. I don't understand why it even got that far.
And technically, he was a hero.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
You know
yeah.
And my hope there is that it's just an automatic thing, that the law requires it. Well, not that it should, but that's the reason why. But it's just everything's so different in different jurisdictions that it's it's so frustrating.
It's mind-boggling. Something like that shouldn't have to live all this time thinking, are these guys going to indict me? Can you imagine that? Like, they're actually like thinking, you're going through this whole process. So I'm not saying that the cops shouldn't of course they should go in there, have an investigation, and come up with stuff. But once they realize this guy clearly saved people, should be the end of the story.
It was on video. The video would have canceled all arguments anyway. So
yeah. So, by the way, smash the thumbs ups out there. I know everyone's getting all excited. Oh, the debate is coming up soon. You still got time. Hang out with us.
You got time. We'll wrap up in time for the debate. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Can we get 7 more thumbs ups? Just 7. Yeah. I'm asking for 7.
That's all you're asking
for?
Not
asking.
Wow.
Well, I've been asking ever since it was 40?
Yeah. So, smash those thumbs ups, especially before you get out of here. You got to smash the thumbs ups. Let me see what other stories are out there. There was a story. Do you guys remember the store owner? What was his name? I think his name was Fadi Fowry. You guys remember that guy that a Black Lives Matter group approached him and they demanded he say Black Lives Matter. And there was video going all over social media of this.
What was the backstory of it?
Well, basically, he was standing out in front of his store, and I'm trying to remember exactly where the store was, and I don't see it immediately here in the article. But I was looking at, I think it was in Louisville, right? So he was standing in front of his store, just guarding his store from being burned down or looted. And he had an AR, but he wasn't threatening anyone. He was just there talking. These guys try to make him say Black Lives Matter, and he was trying to say, I think all lives matter. I don't judge people by their color or anything like that. But there was a lot of people, they were just trying to intimidate him, all that kind of stuff, right? That video was out there, and he was there protecting his store. It was, this video went out. Well, guess what? They firebombed his store last night.
Oh, man.
I mean... I think there's a lot of insanity going on out here, and you guys are people doing this are gonna lose a lot of good people from their communities.
Yes.
I'm just telling you, like, who would build a business in a place where they didn't do anything to you, but they get blamed for something?
Yeah.
It's
You
all
know?
it's going to take is for these pocket of people doing this craziness like that.
Hmm.
Somebody actually retaliates on them, and that will be like it'll cut down everything, but it will open the doors for a lot of other BS to be
Hmm.
said and actions to be taken. But
Hmm. Yeah.
that's crazy. That is crazy
I
though.
mean,
Yeah.
can you imagine what would have happened if, and I'm still in awe that Kyle Rittenhouse was able to have that kind of discipline that he did. Could you imagine if, you know, if he would have, just opened fire indiscriminately into the crowd? By the end of it, after everything he had experienced, a 17-year-old having that kind of discipline is amazing. But could you imagine what would have happened if he would have just indiscriminately not necessarily indiscriminately, but just because he's been bashed over the head now with a skateboard.
Hmm.
There's a guy who just tried to who pointed a gun at him, feet from his head.
Hmm.
What kind of debate now we would be having about about where we would be going?
Definitely a totally different thing. I mean, I think
Yeah,
if
and
you look
and
at
and,
that, you
and
can see him trying to defend himself in
yeah,
a
yeah.
very held together manner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
extremely well held together,
Hmm.
especially for anyone, let alone somebody who's 17.
Hmm.
But yeah, eventually at some point there's going to be a big enough crowd that's going to attack somebody who's not going to have necessarily that kind of discipline, or they're just going to be forced into having to shoot multiple people, and
Yeah.
that whole dynamic could shift what the conversation, and it could go either way.
Yeah.
Let alone the repercussions of if people if the people who weren't doing the violence actually decide then to get violent on top of the violent ones who are out there. It's so
Well, look at what
it's
happened
like a powder
in
keg.
L.A.
It
There
honestly
was.
is like a powder keg, and it's awful. I mean, I
Mhm.
wish I wish the police departments in these cities would crack down on the violent ones,
Mhm.
get them out of there, take care of them, and then not let them infiltrate the peaceful groups. Because most of what we're seeing now, like what happened last night, there's very few peaceful protesters still out there actually protesting. It's pretty much all I don't want to call them anarchists, but they're just they're a
Definitely
criminal element, right? And
professional
professional
rioters.
rioters that are
Yeah.
being brought in to discredit the rest,
Mhm.
the good people who actually do want change. And it's really disturbing. I mean, what are the chances that are the three people that attacked him and the three people that got shot from Rittenhouse? All three of them were violent felons. I mean, that's not an accident. That the people out there doing these are not your good, regular, decent folks. They're the people causing the trouble are felons or criminals. They're
Yeah.
they're
Did
not
you
good people.
did you see there's some footage of there was a protest in L.A. and somehow there was a car. It looked a lot like a Prius or something like that to me that wound up in the crowd. Maybe this was an impromptu protest, so that could happen.
They
That
threw the bicycle through the windshield and then
Yeah.
started. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, they let them out of the crowd. They somehow wound up in a crowd. They let them out. No one was hurt. Then they started chasing this car down,
Hmm.
right? And then when they caught up to this car, they were beating up the guy through the window. They were smashing windows, trying to get into that car. Yeah. In that case, if some people are coming after me, I'm moving. I'm in a vehicle.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
good
yeah.
luck. Good luck if you get in my way.
Yeah.
But that guy didn't want to hurt anyone. So it's one of these
He,
situations that when someone actually realizes what you have to do to defend yourself, gets into that situation, don't get in front of me.
yeah.
Is that the same guy where the dog was like in the back of the
No,
car?
that's a
No, that
different
was a different one.
situation. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
that's another situation where you're getting it.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get in there after my dog, you're getting it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you do that.
Hmm. So
So
like that guy in that Prius who had the bike put through. For those who
mhm.
haven't seen it, he's out, he's driving, and then a pickup truck filled with people drives and cuts in front of. So the car's coming, drives from the back around the front, in front of him, and cuts him off. The car stops, and as soon as it stops, I'm like, no, back up, get
Yeah,
going
I'm
again.
smashing my way out of there, man.
Right.
That's
Hmm.
And
Mogadishu rules right there.
yeah, exactly. I'm backing up. I'm moving. I'm not getting pinned in.
Hmm.
And the guy on the motorcycle who chased him down in the back,
Yeah.
I would have, we would have been trading paint. I would have been pushing him out of the way and going forward. And the second that guy jumped out of the car and came running at the car, you know, you, no, it's not like at that point he was in a crowd. The crowd was a couple hundred yards behind him, and you're getting cut off, you're getting attacked. There was a truck, literally a literal truckload of people. The inside cab was full. There was at least half a dozen people in the bed of that truck, all with different implements.
Yeah, once they get a hold of you, there's not really a lot you can do. So if you're in motion, you need to stay in motion. They should just leave you alone. If you somehow were in that crowd, they let you out, let you go. But if they decide, oh, we're going to get this person, then I 100% understand what that person needs to do to defend themselves. Even if it was someone that I cared about that was caught up in that, my first question to them would be, what the hell were you doing? You know? So, I mean, that's the... Yeah, I think that right now, this is why I say that, yes, there's a small group of people out there who really want to do bad things. But most of us don't. Most of us just want to live our lives, and we're asking, it's kind of like David Banner, saying like, hey, why don't you just leave me alone? You're not going to like me if I get angry. Kind of situation, And there's some people who just really want to see people get angry. Well, once that gets going, that's not going to be easy to stop. So,
right.
Another thing that I want to talk about before we get out of here, and maybe I would like to see if this actually comes up in the debate, even though I'm probably not going to look at the debate because I could give two craps. I don't know. Honestly, right. I could care. But this is something that pissed me off. Project Veritas has a couple of videos out about what's going on in Minneapolis. And this is from the New York Post. Minneapolis police probing alleged ballot harvesting plot helping Rep. Omar. And what Project Veritas is talking about is Ilhan Omar, her constituency are Somalians, right? And I believe that's where the part of Africa that they're from, right? And if I'm wrong, just let me know about that. But basically, this is how she's getting elected, and they're going to all these immigrants in Minneapolis, and they're basically paying them off and getting the ballots and having these guys just sign blank ballots. Okay, and they're putting that in, or they're having people go in with them when they vote, saying that they need an interpreter, and voting for them. And this is on a mass scale. There's videos of these guys bragging about having all these ballots, bragging about paying people off. Project Veritas has a lot of info here. I would invite you guys to go look at it. It really made me mad because as an immigrant, to know that there are places in the world that are horrible for the citizens there, like Somalia and lots of other places, and you come to America. She wasn't born here, just like me. She naturalized, and she came here, and then she's now inflicting this level of corruption on her own people. It's bad enough she's doing it to the rest of us, right, and breaking all these laws, but they're inflicting this on their own people and basically strong-arming these people into voting for them. This is horrible. This is exactly why people are leaving their countries and coming to America, and then to see the people from their own countries pretending to be out there representing these people and getting away with it. Getting away with it here just makes me really, 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 really angry that kind of thing is happening, and it's a shame that we're living in a country that's allowed to happen. I don't care where you are on that. Someone buying the vote, controlling the vote, getting ballots, I don't care. If you're okay with it because it's a Democrat and you're a Democrat, I'm not okay with it. If I'm registered as a Republican. If Republicans were doing it, I wouldn't be. No one should do that.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
No one should do that. We spend so much money and we send people to other countries to get the vote to not be taken over like this. It's a shame to see it happening here and to see someone that's an immigrant and people who are immigrants coming to America for a better life than where they came from, and seeing those very same people taking advantage of them. I know it happens. It just pisses me off. So
it's happened before, I think, on smaller scales. There's been all these different things, but it's to such a level now, and it's so widespread, the amount of things that are going on. And I
Mm-hmm.
think in a previous episode, I had talked a little bit about some of the shenanigans that happened, and that's being really kind
Mm-hmm.
here in my county in northern Indiana during the primary.
Mm-hmm.
There was an entire precinct where, somehow all the absentee ballots just got lost for the
Mm-hmm.
entire precinct. Now, in this case, the ballots that were lost were a mix of a fairly even mix of Republican Democrat ballots for the primary.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't change once when they were counted. It didn't change anything. It didn't have any kind of real influence on it or whatever. I think that was just that wasn't purposeful. I think that was just complete negligence. And the only reason that got caught was because a bigger issue happened where there was a double count from another precinct.
Mm-hmm.
So there should have been out of this precinct, there should have been, I forget whatever the registered voters were versus who voted. It was every registered voter voted in
Mm-hmm.
that primary. Basically, would have been a thing. And somebody looked at it and said, there's never been more than 50% turnout in that precinct ever.
Mm-hmm.
And so it flagged it, and they realized, oh, well, we double counted here, and then we missed there, and this is just all 100% negligence. And without these flags and flyers out there, we would have never known any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And still, there really isn't any safeguard that was put in place to prevent that for the next time. And this is just incompetence that's doing this, right? This isn't malfeasance. I don't believe. This is just sheer incompetence at the level of from the clerk's office and the election board, and also this company Microvote.
Mm-hmm.
And how this continues to happen is just insane. I
How
was at
how
the public.
how is a independent group like Project Veritas figuring this stuff out? Where the hell is the FBI?
That
Is
the
that
FBI's
wrong
out
to
there
ask?
chasing
Like,
down Russia links, right, or something.
where
I don't know
are
what
those
the hell they're
guys?
doing, but you would think they would. You would think somebody down there would care and would be like, hey, it boggles the
Do you
mind.
remember when we used to look up to the FBI?
Yeah.
We used to think, man,
Yeah, I
that's
mean, the
these
FBI
are
used to
cool
be like
dudes.
the pinnacle of
Law
they were
enforcement.
impeccable. They
Yeah.
were untouchable.
Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it. And
I,
now
I
it's
I remember
just
taking my kids to Quantico and all that kind of stuff. I have a friend that works in the FBI training academy, and going up there with Lola and the boys and all that. And I'm not trying to say about every FBI agent out there, right? But
no.
man, what the hell's happening? Like, what's happening when you look at all the
It,
stuff
it's
that's
an
going on with
institutional
these
problem.
guys? It's massively wrong. People should not be allowed to do it. Like, I was just looking at that thing and getting mad. I was, there were Somalians in there that were talking about this and didn't want this, and that felt like they were being forced into something that they don't want. And then obviously, you have someone who's getting on the media, getting on TV and saying that they're representing you and they're doing all this for you, and they're doing nothing for you. Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of it's fear, right? They came from a country of, where they lived in fear and they were oppressed. They come over
Mm-hmm.
here, and now all of a sudden, whether they're being told that there's going to be retribution or something from the people who are making them do it,
Mm-hmm.
or they get tricked into thinking that somehow they're going to lose their citizenship or they're going to get deported because Trump hates them, so you've got to go and do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's evil.
Yeah. I say we get out of the way. We get out of the way. People should not be doing this. I don't care how things go. The whole idea of people voting and what America is not this. I'm sorry, Mike. Look like you want to say something here. Go ahead.
I was trying to think of that movie, whereas they talked about the FBI, and it was like how they did the changing of the guard after Hoover passed away.
This was a recent
can't-
movie?
Yeah, it was like last year, recent.
Who was in it?
I can't remember,
Okay.
but it was a really good movie, and it was like based on true events.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna look it
Hey,
up right quick.
I remember. I don't think that was like a movie that hit the theaters. I think it was like a Netflix movie or Amazon Prime, maybe.
Oh, wait, a
I feel
documentary?
It wasn't a documentary. It was some kind of.
Okay.
I remember what he's talking about. Yeah, basically they went through. It was fiction, but they went through like history of like real life people, and I've seen this
Mhm.
documented elsewhere where the people who were instated in the head and all the political appointee positions were
Like they was running
biased.
for their fear because Hoover kept the record of everybody,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and then it turned out after he passed away, the guy that was under Hoover, he was more like these secrets could never be let out, and then they was trying to use the FBI to circumvent the White House and everything like that. It was kind of
I
crazy.
mean, I know the FBI was investigating Martin Luther King, for example, and I mean, it's a shame that that's what we're okay with, in these days. I don't care who it benefits. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. The fact that once you let that happen, then we might as well be a third world country.
Yeah.
We might as well be that. We have to somehow be better than that. We have to, like, get out of the way of the system, or get out of the way that everything was set up and supposed to work. Now, obviously, I know I'm not so naive that I think that things haven't been manipulated from time immemorial, right? But things are getting worse, and there's people just living off of what's going on here and not actually solving anything. And I think to make it better, we got to stop that.
So Mark Felt, that was the name of it. Mark Felt.
The Mark Felt situation. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people just really briefly, people just don't want to take ownership. They don't really, no matter how much we get on the internet and we talk about it, right? We don't want to take ownership of it. And I've been guilty of that for 42 of the last 43 years. This year, for the first time, I went to a public vote test. So the election board has, they brought in, I think it was 6 or 8 different micro vote machines that were 2 randomly picked from random different precincts. And you could go in, you could vote the machine, get a printout, and make sure it recorded your vote for how you voted. Which on one hand was pretty cool to look at. On the other hand, it was really cool and really quick to see just how quickly they could change one card and one plug and clear out the votes on that machine and refresh it for the next one, right? And swap cards and stuff like that. So I look at that and I think to myself, all right, yeah, it's a streamlined process, but I mean, in a blink of an eye, you could, halfway through the day at a precinct that is highly either conservative or liberal, get in there and within literally 15 seconds, clear the votes out on that machine and reset it. And now all of a sudden, boom. And who's looking at these tallies at the end of the day and actually totaling them up? If it wasn't for, in the case of the instance that I was talking about in the primary, it was the actual voter registration and the media, one of the few local papers that's still left around, that turned up these inconsistencies and called them out on it. And if they had the election board, the clerk, they never caught it. Microvote didn't catch it on their own either. And it was one that exposed the other. Then, oh wow! And it's insane. I have very little. Let's just say what I thought was what little faith I had, or what moderate faith I had in our election system after seeing these things is minimal. I really, it's just too easy, not just for someone with ill intent to get in there and screw something up, but it's too easy for just general incompetence to screw things over. That's what really troubles me. It's not just even somebody having malicious intent. It's just incompetence that could so easily.
Well, and the other thing on top of that is people are supposed to be watching it. I was looking at a video on YouTube about there was this like Nigerian guy that was bragging on social media about being a billionaire, right? And I can't remember his name right now, but I'm sure you guys have probably heard of this story. And the FBI saw him bragging and started looking into the whole situation, and eventually he was overseas. He was in Saudi Arabia. And he was stealing money from people in Saudi Arabia. But they got this guy for the Saudi Arabians. Okay, congratulations to you. There's dudes here bragging online about ballots. What are you looking at? You're tracking all of us and looking at everything. That is the kind of thing that should catch your attention, and you should go in there. Not to say I don't care at all about the Saudi Arabian money, but I don't. This particular thing, you should be in there all over that, seeing what the hell is going on, if anyone is doing that, right? From any direction, but,
One more thing I wanted to comment on this whole thing is, man, people, you have to, and I've been going down to meetings, various different meetings at the local government, including the election board meetings, like this public vote test thing. Get down there to these things, man. Show your face. let them know you're watching. And if nothing else, you're going to at least get a little bit better of an education understanding on what's going on and being able to look at what's going on and hopefully get a better understanding and really get yourself engaged in the process to maybe hold their feet to the fire.
Absolutely.
Somebody said the debate is on.
Yeah, the debate is on. I know we still have some people in here. Smash the thumbs ups before you guys get out of here. We're gonna wrap it up right now. Right now, I'm not even looking at it. I'm sure the reporters are talking about how awesome they are. Blah blah blah. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go. I'm gonna go to Mike from M-W Tactical. Mike, how can the people catch up to you? Keep in touch with all your comings and goings.
Yes, please head on over to Facebook, look up M-W Tactical. Go to Instagram, look up at Munitions Weapons Tactical. Go to YouTube and look up M-W Tactical. Like, subscribe, and follow me on all those platforms. And follow me on my journey as I continue to push through USPSA doing competition shooting.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thanks very much. Joe, 13C Gun Reviews. How can the folks keep up with you, sir?
Sure. 13cgunreviews.com is a great place to go to. We're on Facebook, 13C Gun Reviews, Instagram, MeWe, Parler, trying to grab everything up as best we can there. If you'd like to support us, we've also got a Patreon. We got various swag that you can find too. If you can find those links, you can go to 13cgunreviews.com and find all those links. Sign up for our newsletter as well, right after you sign up for Hank's newsletter. And yeah, thanks everybody. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, yes. And I'm going to encourage you guys to make sure that you're subscribed to 13C Gun Reviews. Make sure you're keeping up with Joe. I know that YouTube's come down really hard on him, and therefore that is making it very hard for you guys to just stumble across his videos. So you're going to have to make like a deliberate attempt to get that done. And of course, go follow our friend MW Tactical here on his journey to dominate the shooting sports world. I want to thank everyone for joining us. Like I said, don't forget to smash your thumbs ups. Big thanks to Walther Arms for supporting us. Stay right there. I'm going to run in the end. There we go. Make sure you guys subscribe here to the channel. Smash the thumbs ups. Ring the bell so you can be notified every time we go live. We are going to rip out the audio from this and throw it up on iTunes and all those other places where you get your audio podcasts from. Make sure you go to hankstrange.com. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the debates, and we will see you guys tomorrow. I don't even know who's coming on tomorrow, but we'll figure that out later. Thanks so much, guys. Who wants the last? Everybody. You're welcome. Who wants the last word? What's the last word?
Drink water.
Okay.
Hydrate or die.
Yeah, absolutely. We're out of here. Peace. We'll see you guys.